Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special breaking news edition of In Time. My name is Nicholas Lamar Soutter, and with me, as always, is Ansgar Odinson.
Hey, everybody. This should be an interesting one, actually.
Well, it's going to be, I don't know. Okay. So what we have as of this moment, this actually happened a little earlier in the day, but we've been sort of trying to keep up with it and figure out what we're going to do about it. What we have at this moment appears to be that President Donald Trump retweeted a tweet which included the name of the whistleblower who reported that he was exchanging money which was actually owed to the Ukraine for political favors against a political opponent. In this case, it was Joe Biden. He wanted Joe Biden's son investigated by the Ukraine. There had been an investigation. The investigation found there was nothing, and he wanted the reinvestigation opened. He wanted it opened publicly so it would damage the name of Joe Biden. And there was a whistleblower who was aware of this request and ended up informing on if I recall, a government hotline. And that is largely, in fact, that is solely at this moment, the impetus for all of the charges against Trump in the impeachment. The whistleblower's name ostensibly is supposed to be kept quiet. There are a number of reasons for this. What we haven't been able to establish and what we're looking for right now is, was it legally supposed to be kept quiet? We do know that during the hearings, when the hearings were closed door, during those hearings, any testimony that went on in regards to this whistleblower, the name was redacted and it was sealed. Nobody was supposed to know. However, if somebody finds out through other means, for example, well, we saw him walking into the building, they held closed doors hearings with an unknown whistleblower for the exact duration of time he was in the building, then he left, so we know who it is. That gets murkier. We have been unable to determine yet whether or not releasing the name, if you have figured it out that way, is legal or not. But there are a couple of interesting things about this. First of all, President Trump deleted that tweet, and that's a problem.
Why is that a problem? I mean, like, I delete tweets all the time. What's the problem with Trump doing it?
That's a really good question. And in general, it's actually not been a problem with presidents doing that in the past. The reason it's a problem with Trump doing it is because Trump's Twitter feed has actually been declared official White House news. It's been official White House releases, anything he tweets. Yeah, now nobody's really pleased about this. The reason this happened was because he has, for most intents and purposes, shut down the White House press corps. He's not giving daily briefings. He is not releasing information, but he is still on Twitter. And so his account was declared an official White House press, official White House releases. So anything he tweets is officially news from the White House. This means it's national records. He is not allowed to delete national records. That's a really bizarre situation to be in, but that's where we find ourselves. So he can't delete those. So ostensibly, what we have now is 3 problems, and we are now joined by Prolib. Prolib, thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
We
yes,
can.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. The moment I said that I would join you, my microphone and my camera, neither of them would work. I had to restart my computer twice, and now it's fine. I don't know.
See, Terminator got it wrong. Rise of the Machines will be just when they all refuse to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. So sorry about that.
No worries. So what we have now ostensibly is 3 distinct problems. First, he's released the name of the whistleblower, which was presumably classified by Congress. Now, depending on how he got that name or what he was doing with the release of that name, this isn't quite like the Valerie Plame incident where the name of a CIA agent was doxxed, because there he's actually allowed to release evidence that is classified by the executive branch. This was classified ostensibly, and what they can classify and what's called classified is a whole nother.
Sure.
So yeah, so first you've got that. So first, can he release that information? Second, he deleted the tweet, which is an official White House correspondence, whether he likes it or not. Third, is this witness intimidation? Is he trying to get this person to change their mind, back out, do anything like that by attacking them online? Which when what was her name was testifying? Yovanovitch was testifying. He was tweeting live what a horrible human being she was, and to say that that wouldn't have an impact on her testimony, I can understand the argument for witness tampering. So,
right.
Prolib, fill us in. Where are we? What's going on?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Yeah,
You got to stop doing such a good job. If you hate it, they call me again. Guess I'm going to do a good job.
Thank you. So I've seen political scientists and lawyers going back and forth on Twitter since this happened about whether he committed a felony or a misdemeanor. Some people think that it was a felony. Some people think that it was a misdemeanor. I don't know. I read somebody's opinion. I'm like, yeah, he did that. Oh, wait, no, he did this. Oh, no, wait. So I don't know either. What I do know is that he threatened the whistleblower's life on Twitter.
I had not heard that part.
This happened about a month ago, and he suggested that the whistleblower should be executed. So, yeah. So, I think if you take that instance and you pair it with this instance, then it becomes more felonious, right? Just if you look at it in a vacuum, it's probably not a felony.
Please don't use the word fellatio on our stream. This is a child-friendly.
I'm sorry.
Child-friendly. Oh crap.
So it's probably cunnilingus, but no.
Jesus. Okay. Normally our breaking news is a little more serious, but this happened a short while ago, so we're
okay. It was. I didn't think I was going to be here. I didn't know that I could be here until like 15 minutes ago. So. Yeah. But yeah, I think when you pair the two things together, you get something. You get closer to that witness intimidation, jury tampering, however it is that however you classify it.
Well, I mean,
it becomes more serious.
Even if he didn't directly, obviously Trump did not directly threaten the witness saying, "I will kill you." But when you have somebody who a lot of people pay attention to saying this person basically deserves to die, now here's who this person is, that gets into some pretty sketchy territory.
Exactly, and that's where I kind of fall on that side of. Again, it's you can't take it in a vacuum. If you if I walked into a bank and I had a gun and I said I want all of the money and I shot someone dead, the murder part of it's not taken in a vacuum, right? What I did was armed robbery. So you can't look at these things individually and try to decide whether or not they're bad. You have to look at the totality of the situation and all of the different interactions that he's.
It's like this. If I'm holding an
had.
axe and looking at you intimidatingly and I say, that's a nice coat, that's very different than me just walking up and saying, hey, that's a nice coat.
Right. Or chopping my leg off and stealing the coat. Right. All three of those are very different situations.
Yeah.
You would get a lot of retweets on Twitter if you chop my leg off, though, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I'm sure there'd be a lot of people who would be happy about that. But
I don't believe that, but all right.
You haven't been on my side of my Twitter.
I've seen some of it.
Yeah. So man, I know this. What he did was bad.
Well, if they're talking about misdemeanor or felony, it sounds like they've already moved past the was it a crime part.
Right. I think that's, you don't, when you're talking about like political scientists, like scholars and lawyers and stuff, well, I'm not talking about people that are political, like not punditry.
Right.
I haven't seen anyone from kind of that sphere say, oh, well, no crime occurred. It's more about what's the severity.
So do you think this gets added on into his, impeachment?
Man, don't. It's funny. The last time we were here, we were talking about impeachment, and you asked me if I thought it was going to get removed, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. The next day, it was the next day or the day after, Christianity Today comes out and says the president should be removed.
Oh God!
So
yeah.
That's why there are so many moving parts that is so hard to factor into the calculus.
Right.
I did that vlog last week or whatever about how he could be impeached a second time over the Mueller report stuff. Could this be a third impeachment?
Well,
maybe
ostensibly for witness tampering, but could they not also perhaps roll it into, because the first one was contempt of Congress. I believe as long as it's contempt of Congress, they can actually keep adding elements to that so long as it falls under the umbrella of contempt of Congress, even if it occurred after the charges were filed.
No, because it has to be
contradict. Okay, well, good news.
I'm sorry.
You're not being invited back on.
I'm sorry, but I think it has to be the articles that were voted on by the House. I don't think it's like a grand jury indictment where they have the ability to add on. I think that's one of the key differences, is that it has to be what the House voted on. So the House would have to vote on an additional article.
Right.
That's my understanding.
I think you're correct about the articles, but so long as it falls under that article, you can actually have multiple, because it actually just counts as evidence towards that. And even if he's done it since then, if it's evidence towards the contempt of Congress, and that would be the specific charge here. If it's evidence towards the contempt of Congress charge, it doesn't matter. He could have done it the day before they bring it up, as long as it's contempt of charge Congress and in that issue.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and have to agree to disagree.
All right.
I don't think they could do that, but it's absolutely possible that I'm wrong. I'm not an impeachment expert. So
we know one.
Sure you do know one, and you should ask him.
We will.
Yes, we will.
Please do. And that's a great question.
I should actually DM him, and our producer, who is following the show, may be able to get in touch with him while we're doing this and get an answer on that, because that's a good one.
That'd be great. That would be great.
I'm curious, what do you think about what Nick was talking about, where because his
I don't listen to Nick.
Yeah.
Nick was speaking? What?
Well, right before you got here, Nick was talking about how his Twitter account, because that's how he delivers news to the nation, has been declared official White House correspondence. So him deleting this, I know
that is the appropriate response.
That's migraine inducing.
Jesus fucking Christ
already.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know. That
Yeah,
alone should be the breaking news, but sadly it isn't.
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so what are the legal implications, do you think, of him having deleted after having ostensibly helped dox
Okay.
this person?
Yeah. That's a phenomenal question. So there's actually a provision within the presidential, what is it? The Presidential Preservation Records Act. I forget what the actual wording is. There's an act about preserving presidential records. And there's actually a provision in there about how each instance, I believe, is 1 year in prison or a $5,000 fine or something.
Mhm.
And
Whoa.
some legal scholar on Twitter was arguing that if he has 68 million followers or whatever it is, whenever he deletes it, that's 68 million times that he's actually deleted the record.
That's a cute argument, but
Oh,
that's
That's
not
a
going to work.
cute.
I like it. I
No,
like it, but it ain't
I
going to
don't.
work.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think you can give him 68 million years in jail for doing that. But
I don't object to the sentence. I just think logically there's a fault in it. No, if you can
I
give him that
do.
time, go for it.
I agree. So I think it's a class 2 felony. I don't remember. I've been reading different arguments about what that he's done over the past days is different classes of felony. So I may have that wrong. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, it's bad. You can't. And what's funny is it was his office that pushed to have his Twitter marked as official White House.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Whatever.
that.
Yeah, or no, it wasn't his Twitter. No. I'm sorry. It was his Twitter, but they pushed to have his personal Twitter instead of like the president.
Yeah.
Like that he didn't have to tweet with like the official president account. He could just tweet with like his personal Twitter.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, at this point, who cares? Who gives a fuck? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. Yes. Probably.
Probably.
All right.
Got
And
it.
Probably.
Most definitely
all right,
probably.
so well, I think they
Yes,
pushed for
definitely.
it because they had to have some official communication, and they figured why not just
Right.
make his yeah.
Right.
So now it's been said that the name actually has been an open secret. The Washington Post said that the New York Post, yeah, said that the name has been an open secret for in Washington circles for some time. And in fact, the Washington Post did guess as to his name and said that with reasonable certainty they knew who it was. They made this guess in October.
Yes.
So it has been. Does that change things? Let's take that down for 1 sec.
No,
Take
because
that down?
Yes, please.
what doesn't change is the fact that whistleblowers have protections. All whistleblowers have protections, and then whistleblowers that are whistleblowing things about the government have certain protections. It's why people like me who celebrate the spirit of what Reality Winner and Edward Snowden did as good. Like, I get the spirit of it, but there's also a law. Like, I think that Reality Winner was way overpunished. I don't think she should still be in prison. But at the same time, you have certain ways that you're supposed to go about whistleblowing things, and this person did it to the letter. Like, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They should have their privacy. They weren't doing it to like get him. It's this whole thing about how, oh, I was deleted out of Home Alone 2 because Justin Trudeau doesn't like me. It's like, no, they did it in 2014 for commercials, you fucking dimwit. But he just see, because Trump is somebody that tries to get people. Mm-hmm. So he believes that everybody's out to get him. So he just thinks that the whistleblower's out to get him personally.
Right.
And he's not. It's not what it's about.
Yeah.
And we have Native Atheist being very helpful. Who was doxxed? I'll go to his address.
Right.
I think he's missed. Yeah. Okay.
We've known for, I think, since October, that the whistleblower has armed security that drives him, that person, from to and from work. I don't even like to espouse the gender, because I believe they do deserve that privacy, and I want to give it to them, even if it's been taken from them. I don't want to partake.
You don't want to. Yeah. Well, there's no point in piling on if it can be
right,
avoided,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but we do know that person gets armed security to and from work whenever they want it. And my tax dollars happily go to provide that.
If I worked for Donald Trump, I'd say no to the security and hope that somebody just shot me. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
All right. So what we have here then is it looks like at a minimum the deletion of the tweet was a violation of the Federal Records and Archives. Yeah, something like I remember that. I don't remember the act, but I'll say whatever the act you said it was. But yes, so a violation of that. It looks like a number of people agree that a crime was probably committed. I think it does depend on the source of the information. Now, this was a retweet, but and here's the other thing. So he's got a problem. Let's assume that he's right and that this is the person, which it's actually unconfirmed. We don't know yet. Congress hasn't released it. This person's been asked, and they have neither confirmed nor denied it. Let's assume that he's got the name right. Then presumably he's given out confidential information sealed by Congress. Let's assume he's got the name wrong. He's just accused somebody else of it, thrown some innocent person under the bus. So it seems to me there's no set of circumstances under which this is good.
Right. You've got a Richard Jewell situation. Yeah, I mean, you can't attach a lot of logic to what he does because he's just so off the cuff. So I don't think that he was out to make a point or a statement or anything beyond, I don't like you. So, I want to hurt you back.
All right. So, yeah, I think that seems to be how he conducts foreign policy, too, which is a bit concerning.
Yeah.
So I think then the last issue we have left would be, let's see, deleting the record. Oh, witness intimidation. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, you brought it up already, Marie Yovanovitch. During her testimony, he was actively attempting to intimidate her, and she was like, no. So, it's a tactic that people like Trump use because Trump is a very scared person, right? He's a person who has a lot of fear inside. And so the way in which he believes that everybody feels like him, that they're afraid all the time, that they're they're afraid of being perceived as weak. They're afraid of being of losing. That's why everyone's a loser, right? Because what's worse than losing to Trump? Nothing. Nothing is worse than losing.
Yeah.
So he's trying to intimidate the people who can hurt him because he feels intimidated. Yeah, it's witness intimidation. He's a dick.
All right, so
the
thank you, Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
The chat seems to be divided between one of the most extreme takes. I'm not saying extreme is bad, just on one side of the extreme we have people who are kind of saying that this is the same thing as putting a contract out on somebody, after saying I think they should die. And then all the way to the other extreme, which is why would anybody care about this? It's such a small thing.
Well, protecting whistleblowers is exceedingly important. Whistleblowers let us know when bad things are happening that are being covered up by powerful people. And we have to be a society that says even the most powerful person isn't more powerful than the single individual. That is the core of democracy that evolved into republicanism, which is where we are today. That no one single person's importance is more important than another's, and that's why protecting whistleblowers is important, because it gets at that spirit that even if I uncover wrongdoing, can point it out, and that justice will prevail. And
especially in the government. I mean, they're whistleblowers too. We try to protect whistleblowers from big corporations, whistleblowers who have found out that For example, what was I think I don't know if it was Ford. I forget what one of the major companies, aside from planned obsolescence, but was doing the calculations, mathematical calculations on. I think everybody kind of knew, but they had the records that they were doing the calculations on. Okay, what's the cost of these airbags are going to fail at a certain rate? We know there is a defect in it that we should repair legally, but since the cost of the repair exceeds the amount of money we are likely to pay in lawsuits for keeping the defect, we will keep the defect. And that was a whistleblower who brought out and had the documents and said, but now if it's a corporation that's willing to kill you because, and certainly is willing to let other people die because of a huge amounts of, and what gets into oil money too, that's some pretty serious stuff.
One of my favorite examples of this is actually from the, was it the 40s or the 50s? Anyways, have you guys ever, do you guys remember, it's one of the, you know, godfathers of YouTube channel, the toy review channel.
Yeah.
Jeepersmedia. Well, he did one on a toy that was given out to teachers. It was given to teachers of primary school back, I believe it was in the 50s, and it was a pure lead candy dish. And this was an advertisement to make sure that you buy and use in the classroom. I think it was Dutch Boy pure lead paint, because it's the best. Now, this was at a time when we knew about the health problems of lead paint, but because there was nothing to stop them, they just like the tobacco industry, just like the oil industry, just like every other industry, they were willing to give children lead ostensibly to eat because it was profitable.
Yeah. I hadn't heard of that before.
So the question was on whistleblowers, and you were saying why whistleblowers should be protected.
Right. Yeah. So I think the other part is what you brought up about protecting them in government. Government stays true and stays fair when we force it to. Government is made up of other people. It's not some random building somewhere that you can't get inside. It is other human beings. They're going to mess up. We must hold them to account 100% of the time. And we do that with facts, and we do that with knowledge. And if government is obfuscating either one of those things, we need whistleblowers in government to release those facts and that knowledge. So I fundamentally disagree that this is nothing. This is
well, isn't that kind of what Trump is doing? I mean, isn't he saying this is the guy who's out to get me?
Yeah, but Trump is someone who has allegedly abused his office and committed contempt of Congress, and the whistleblowers' evidence pertains to that. So for a president who is under impeachment, facing a trial in the Senate, to say, well, you know, the person who is partially responsible for the information getting out that led to my impeachment should be executed. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And nope. I don't think that there is necessarily, like, whistleblowing isn't the big corporation outing the person who is whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is the little guy outing the big organization.
Right. And you know,
Trump already has all the legal protections and all the power he needs to fight this. He doesn't need a special, whistleblower cause to protect himself from the little guy.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
That's like, okay, David and Goliath. Well, Goliath really needs a rocket launcher to protect himself from David.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's just gonna about cover it. I don't know where this is gonna go. I think it is shocking. He is ostensibly either the or one of the most powerful human beings alive, and he has just released the name of somebody who's causing him trouble, a name that was deliberately withheld. Okay, and then he deleted it. which okay, but that's a oh boy.
And
There are
might I
attorneys who
remind the
make
audience to keep in tune to both ProLib and ourselves, Twitter and YouTube, because if we get more information on this, like if we find out whether or not there was a specific legal protection for this whistleblower or something like that, we will probably release that either in a tweet or an update video.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm putting together my end of year vlog tonight. Should be out tomorrow. Now that I have my brand new fancy camera, isn't this fancy? Doesn't it look fancy?
It's pretty, man. You look good.
Thank you.
It would look gorgeous, but for the guy sitting right in the middle.
Yeah,
of it.
unfortunately, it's got to film me.
Well, that's how the last one broke, isn't it? But at any rate.
But part of that end of the year 2019 will be talking about some of this impeachment stuff, and I'm gonna do what I shouldn't do and predict a whole bunch of stuff for 2020. So and this will be part of it. So and I'm gonna look up the stuff about the whistleblower, and that'll be in there.
So I'm just gonna make a quick prediction. I think he might get a second impeachment over, and this might be added on to it.
I think so. I actually do think. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I think at this point they smell blood in the water anyway. I think that's a good point. They wouldn't,
I mean, when you've got Christianity Today and what was the other one? There's two Christian publications in the past week that have come out and said he should be removed. That is devastating. For
well, it was an editorial in Christianity Today, but it was. I mean, it's not a. I mean, but that's still the fact is they let it through. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they could have.
Right. And he, of course, went on Twitter and called them ET. So.
Oh, God.
Said I will not be reading ET ever again, and I had to remind him that that's a movie. I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, I think the other advantage, and Tony brought this up, if they do a second impeachment, then they can let one go to the floor and hold the other one over it.
They can. That's true.
Which may be what, but we'll discuss that later. We'll have you back on. We really do appreciate you coming on such short notice, and we do as much as we like to make fun of you because we know you and we realize that really you deserve it.
Absolutely.
We also do bring you on consistently because you really know what you're doing, and you're a huge benefit. So thank you very much for coming on such a short period of time. And we do follow him. We do actually. Oh, thank you, Coessa. Coessa just sent us a super chat. You're not getting away without some. Thank you very much. That support always really helps, and we appreciate your support during Dave's birthday party too. So thank you all very much. We will be back. Hopefully there isn't going to be any major breaking news, but I think this was worth covering. Okay, Dr. Phil says thank you. Yeah. But go check his channel out. Also, his partner Mikey, who does shows with him, he's also the Deviants is in. He's got a wrench. He's blue. You'll be able to spot him out. He's another worthwhile sub. But thank you very much for coming. And
sure, anytime.
We will talk to you all soon.
See you later,
everybody.